Good morning, everybody. My name is ASHRAE. This is my contact information. We're gonna post this on our website. It's up and running very soon. You want to write it now? Take advantage of this. I'm currently your Chapter Technology Transfer Chair. We are passing around a sign-up sheet. Please give us your name, which chapter you are from, your email address, and your position, because we need to know if the chapter technology transfer chair of each chapter is here. And I know there are some chapters that brought their program shares or their technology or their DIGA shares or the refrigeration shares. We need to know that if they were here or not. Okay? Let's go to the next one. The CTTC programs in our region are divided among 3 people. Programs is run by John Pennington. Refrigeration is run by Ted Hansen. And I run the rest, which is TIGA, which is short for Technology and Government Affairs. Let's go to the next slide. This is the agenda for today. We're going to talk, we already talked about, made some brief introduction, talk about the sign. We're going to talk about your responsibility. We're going to talk about advocacy, that's our involvement on bringing information from ASHRAE to the government entities and government employees so they can do a better job. John will then talk about chapter programs. Then I'll take over again, discussing how the distinguished lecturer works. We're going to talk about POE criteria reporting, and we're going to talk about the CTTC awards program. And we'll have some time to questions and answers. Sorry I wasn't able to bring copies of the evaluations. What we're going to do is I'll send you an email, and then I'll receive them back from you. So it's important that you put your email on the sign-up sheet. This is the ASHRAE mission. Our purpose is to advance the arts and science of HVAC and art, to serve humanity and to promote a better world. Next slide. Currently, we have about 52,000 members, which are part of 174 chapters, and these 174 chapters are part of 14 regions. And this is the structure in which ASHRAE is built. CTTC is a general standing committee. They also call it a grassroots committee. When they say grassroots, it means that this committee serves the chapters. You have the technical committees, which they produce all the materials for the handbooks and for the standards. What we do as a chapter technology transfer is serve the chapters. We are operating on the direction of the Board of Directors and Members Council. Next slide, please. The composition of the Society Committee is as follows. We have 1 chair, we have 2 vice chairs, we have 14 regional vice chairs, we have a building ex officio coordinating officer, we have a program coordinator, a communications coordinator, we have 4 non-voting consultants. One on refrigeration, one in technology, one in energy, and another one in government. These guys are experts in these fields, and they give us presentations on the latest on each of these subjects. Now we're going to talk about the Society's Committee responsibility. We report directly to Members Council. We identify and develop resources to help you do better chapter programs. We are responsible to take the information produced by the technical committees and special standard committees. We are responsible to take that information from them and give it to you so you can share it with all our members. That's one of our pillars. We promote and do administrate awards, and also we are responsible to promote government activities within the chapters and the regions. As I said before, to take the input from society, we take input from the chapters and take that information back to society. One of your responsibilities as a chapter technology transfer chair is not only to receive the information from society and put it in your newsletter or your website. The idea is that we need from you to give feedback, to take all your chapter members. Okay, we need feedback on standards, we need feedback for publications, or handbook and position papers and statements. So it's a two-way street. And you see on the POE criteria that one of the requirements is that you get some members of the chapter, meet, maybe take a handbook chapter or take part of a standard and evaluate it and make comments on it, and we'll be happy to take that information back to the thesis. You know that ASHRAE, our letter is R, and R is for refrigeration. CTTC also is responsible to coordinate refrigeration activities within the chapter. We, in this case, John, who is the programs chair for the region, we are responsible for maintaining a regional speaker list. That's John will explain more of this in detail later, and he'll tell you that he needs your help in keeping this list up to date, and he'll give you the details later. We are also responsible to help you with the POE criteria so you understand it and you can execute what the president of ASHRAE wants you to do. And we are also responsible of training you during the workshops in the CRCs. And we also want to promote you that you give continuing education to our members in your monthly meetings. So this is some of your responsibilities. You'll be required to provide relevant programs to your chapter members. Take the information that we provide you from society and show it to your members in the technical and government issues. Promote the awards. We have technology awards, talk about more later. That you can ask your chapter members to submit projects. They can go as high as to compete in the society level. I will talk about more detail of this. You'll be responsible to have the refrigeration chair on your chapter to refrigeration activities. Remember that this is one of our pillars, refrigeration. It's very important that you as a chapter technology transfer chair, that you have someone to help you with the refrigeration. Please, when you sit down with your program chair, sit down also with your refrigeration chair, coordinate for him to have at least one or two activities related to refrigeration. There's a society speaker list. Basically, the speaker list is the distinguished lecturer list. When you find about 4 deals that talk about refrigeration. One good idea that you have as a refrigeration activities, go to ice rinks, maybe visit a brewery. I know I was talking with Sean from Florida West, so they're gonna see the chiller plant, right, from the box drinks. So, and he kills 2 birds with 1 stone because he got the refrigeration activity plus he got a social activity out of J members. So you have to be innovative with your activities. Use technical committees for program topics and news. I would like to tell you, to let you know, that you as a chair, you can write society. I'll send you this information by email. And society will send you a list of all the members in your chapter that are part of technical committees, publication committees, handbook committees, or others. And the purpose is for you to take them to your monthly meeting. I have him talk at least 15 minutes and make him share his knowledge on what's going on his technical committee. Let's go to the next one. Okay. In ASHRAE, all our committees work using what we call MBOs. MBO is management by objectives. This is how it works. You tell, okay, I want to do this. You need to be specific. You need to quantify it. Say, okay, I want to do this, but I'll do it 5 times, 8 times. For example, host monthly meetings. You have to say it's going to be 8. At least you have to have 8 monthly meetings. When you're measuring it, you will know at the end of the day, did I make the 8? Did I make 10? You compare if you were able to achieve your goal. Be realistic. Don't say you're going to do 20 programs. It's very difficult. Be realistic. If you do exaggerated stuff, you might get frustrated. And you have to put a timetable. You just don't say I'll do a refrigeration program or visit a chiller plant. You have to put in your MBO when that's going to happen, because you need to measure if you got your activity as planned. If you did it later or before. There are two documents that you will find on the CTTC main page on the ASHRAE website. That page is www.ashrae.org/CTTC. There you find all the information about the committee. There are two very important documents that you'll find there. One is the Manual of Procedures for our Society Committee, and there's another document called the Resource Manual. The Resource Manual, you will have all the information you need to be a good CTTC chair. Also remember, because even though we are doing this training, we are not going to show you everything that is on those documents. So you should be responsible to see them. In the resource manual, there's an example of a management by objectives. And I expect each and every one of you that before October 30th, you submit me the MBO for your year. Okay? That's a POV category. That's a POV requirement. Okay? Let's go to the next. Okay. ASHRAE, we already talked that this big society, engineering society that is very technical. We create a lot of information. We do many research, and we need to share this information to government entities so they can do a better decision when they apply policy. When they do their public policy, they need our help by giving them the information they need to make decisions. We don't tell them what to do. That's very important. We don't lobby. We don't lobby government officials. We just only provide them information for them to make the decisions of public policy. Okay? Let's go to the next slide. So we expect from you, especially on the big chapters, that you have someone in charge of government affairs, that the person coordinate with the chapter program chair to at least one government affairs program. Okay? That this person will be in charge of taking information that will be providing you to the local authorities. For example, Puerto Rico is currently moving forward in adopting the International Building Code 2009 as its building code. Members of my chapter, the Puerto Rico chapter, were participants in submitting amendments to these codes. That's one of the responsibilities as a government affairs chair. So it's very important that you start a list of contacts in government and see how you can help them by providing information generated by ASHRAE. Let's go to the next. Okay. This is some of the potential issues that the government affairs chair may be involved. We already talked about building code adaptations and revisions. We may be involved on construction initiatives. We are encouraged to go to hearings and provide information that are on on the ASHRAE website. Let them know you want to adopt a green code. Well, we have the 189.1. It's available. You can go to this website. You can see it. Or if you're changing the energy code, we have the 90.1 2010. So we can also help student affairs set up programs for schooling in the subjects of science and mathematics, and we can help the government start energy efficiency initiatives. Let's go to the next slide. Here you'll find some of the resources available in the ASHRAE website for government affairs. This is the advocacy page. This is where the Washington DC office that is responsible working on government affairs. They have a good relation with Congress. Many of the major federal departments, they keep a lot of information here. Also, they have a newsletter that they send every 2 weeks that will keep you informed of what's going on in Washington. Okay? We have available 2 documents, which are the Premier on Government Activities and the Advocacy Kit in our CTTC main page. So you can go there and download it. And that will help you develop your government affairs activities. Let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, this is very important. The only person in the ASHRAE Society that can speak for the society is our president, which is this year's Lady Renner. She's our first woman president. So, and there in the website some documents that are approved from the board that you can take to a government official. In this case, those are the position documents. Let me give you an example of that. In Puerto Rico, they pass a law that you cannot smoke in any place inside a building. You cannot smoke in any building unless it's a cigar store. That's the only place there. Or hotels, but those rooms has to be marked as smoking. You may see in your county, on your state, that may be going toward that. Well, there's a position document in which ASHRAE explains their position on smoking. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, at this time, I will leave you with John Pennington, who will be doing the chapter program section of the presentation. Thank you for your attention. I'll pick it up again when we enter the distinguished lecture. Thank you.
One of the things I want to emphasize right now is, thank you, I might need that. Does it work?
Bottom.
I'm armed and dangerous.
Yeah, can blind someone with that.
One of the things I want to start with is just to say that, to emphasize something that Ricardo was talking about earlier, the chapter is not just a place to have meetings. The chapter is a powerhouse that goes from those meetings and out to make a difference in the world we live in. Yes, when we're involved in our jobs, that's one thing because we're trained, but the other thing is that we can go into these different organizations, the government, and people that are writing codes and those kind of things, and be a part of what's happening there. It's not going to happen unless we make it happen. There's no substitute for that. It just they won't. If your phone won't ring, you're going to have to go get them. So these are just some general things to receive and transmit information, develop knowledge, meet members, opportunities for leadership. Yeah, when we go to our meetings, we go to be fed, and our job as CTTC and programs, refrigeration, those kinds of offices, our job is to feed our membership. This is I was going to say 100%. We learned the other day there's 107 people on payroll. The rest of us, thousands of us, are all volunteers, and we work because we care, because it makes us better at what we want to do, and it also is an opportunity for us to give back. And that's we need to feed each other, and that's what happens at the chapter level. And all the stuff that goes on at headquarters and all those kind of places never hits the ground unless we make it hit the ground. So here's an idea about how to proceed with regard to programs. Your board will probably set the dates that you're going to have meetings, unless you have some special meeting that you're going to try to have happen that'll modify that. But our members are used to being in the same place at the same time. And if you rock it too much, it probably will impact your attendance. Just think about that, but most of us just say, well, it's a second Wednesday at 7 o'clock, and we're always in the same place then. So that's kind of how it works. But we need to be available right now to develop the plan. And I've seen some of you talk to me, and I've seen some plans that some of you are working on, and I think it's great. If you have needs, these processes here are kind of obvious. It just triggers us so we can talk about some things. And by the way, if there's any questions you have, don't wait till the end. Do it now, because I'll probably forget at the end. So you need to, by the end of the summer, you need to have your contacts made and knowing where you're going to be going. There are some PAOE points. If you get your program done and get them to me by, what is it, October 30? Sometime we'll look at that. October 1 or October 30, I forgot what you did. Go ahead.
Slide says before October.
October 1.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe I should read my slide. Thanks. So if you get that done, there'll be some extra PAOE points for you. Get it done. And the other thing is, I know the first time I did programs at the chapter level, it whipped me. Because I did it as I went. And that's not smart. The second year, I had it all done like it says to do here. And it was nice. I could enjoy the programs instead of saying, oh, what's not going to happen? Because things are going to happen. We had somebody had the wrong date, didn't they? In one of our chapter meetings in Southwest Florida, they were going to be there on the third Wednesday instead of the second Wednesday. And nobody knew it. And all of a sudden we get through at a board meeting and there's no speaker. Well, it was a good panel that night. But just know that things are going to happen, and if you've got everything lined up before you start the year, then it's a lot easier to handle those things. So please think seriously about this process, and it's not just a rule; it's just good sense. A survey is of great value. Sometimes we get surveys and they don't ask the right questions or something like that, but find out what your members, where they're hungry. That's important, because if the programs are feeding their needs, they'll be there. If they're not, then you're going to be saying, I wonder why nobody's here. And so think about trying to find out why, and when you do that survey, you don't want to do the survey just for the people that are there. You want to figure out some way to do a survey for the people that aren't there, because those are the people you're trying to attract. So put out something. Today's world with email is so easy. Returns are not great, but some returns better than none. So give it a try. Go out and ask your people what they'd like to see in terms of programs. When you get that information, this slide is suggesting that you tell them what you now know, so that they can respond again if what you're finding from other people doesn't fit them. Maybe they'll pipe up and tell you some other things too. So share the information after you get it back, because it's important. Okay. And there's a place for a sample survey if you want to do that. Thanks. When there's a list of things you need to go through when you've got a speaker coming in, and not just before he comes in. When you're doing your planning, you want to find out if he needs a projector, if he on a screen, and if he doesn't, if you want certain setups and that kind of stuff. Is he coming in? Is he driving in? Does he know how to get there? And all those kinds of things. Talk to these people and make sure that your guests know, or are able to tell you rather, what their needs are. And make a list and then tickle their thing. They may not, some of these people, especially if you use the DLs, these guys are pros. They know what to do because they do it a lot. But if you're doing it for somebody else, he may not know some of the questions to ask. So spend some time in communication. Then when you get that information done, we need to publicize the information, because now we're recruiting people to come to the meeting. And we do that not by just saying it's the second Wednesday. We say, we got something neat going on the second Wednesday, and here it is. And just put it out there and do a little sales pitch. That'll help your attendance. I struggle with this because some of us are hardcore, and we go, if it was coffee and donuts, Other people will only go if the speaking person and the information is given to them, so that you've triggered their inquiry. That's why a lot of our members go. We got some people we see 2 or 3 times a year, because that's the only times we hit them with something they want to see. But if you don't tell them in advance, they're not going to do it. So please think seriously about this. Everybody has a newsletter or something that you can put out every month, so that say yes. You're not saying yes? You don't have them? Yeah, okay. Do that. Emails. We have made some suggestions sometimes for somebody, and there are people in our organizations that have the time and the ability and are interested in just making a bunch of phone calls. And when they make those phone calls, attendance goes up. Works. Any questions? Okay. Commercialism, this is one we do have to worry about. If you can do this, ask your speaker for what they're going to present, and see how many times there are logos in there and all this kind of stuff. I would allow somebody at the beginning or the end to say what he does or she does, but no more. And if there's stuff that's scattered throughout, send it back to them and say, take these things out. Tell them what to take out. You don't want to have to do that, but you have to do that. If you don't, you're going to have people upset. We've had people, in my experience, I've had people leave ASHRAE because one of their competitors was there beating his drum and he didn't get to beat his, and we just don't want that. Right? We all know that, but as a program person at CT Squared, it's your job to make sure that it doesn't happen. So please make that a part of what you're doing. I know it's a pain, but it's a bigger pain if you get a violation. Okay.
Can I emphasize a little bit more on that too? Sometimes you get a vendor up there in the commercialism, and they may not have it on the slide, but if you talk to them beforehand, a lot of times they'll wear their shirt with their logo on it, and during the meeting they go, well, and they cover their logo. Well, that's kind of making everybody draw the attention, and they'll do that several times during the presentation. So please warn them not to do that as well, because you're drawing attention. It's just little ways that they're trying to get their little commercialism in.
Good point. Good point. We don't want to dress them, but
You can't help it, but they wear.
But we don't want them. We just don't want them advertising.
Covered up when you get there.
That's what duct tape's for, right? Okay. PDHs, does anybody have a problem? I mean, you are using those, I hope. Do you know how to do them, how to make them happen in your chapter? Okay, well, there are people that will go to your meeting because they get CEUs. And it's important to make that available. If you have any questions about how to make that happen in your chapter, let us know. Because different places have different rules. You know, like Florida, we know pretty much, but we can help you in Brazil and some other places if you need that kind of information. We'll find it. I don't know how to do it, but I'll find out how to do it. That's kind of our job. So you can go, you know, we're almost all in the same state, so some of this information is not too important. But here you're seeing, if you go to something like this, you may not remember this page, but if you go in there and do a search for the topic, you'll get to that page. So we heard a comment in our delegate meeting where a question was asked about, is it easy to use the website? Well, no. But it's not that hard if you use some of these tips. And I use the search all the time. That's how I get around. Just, I don't want to remember it's on page 554. I just want to know what the setting is, and it'll get me there. And it does work pretty well. So be comfortable with the website. Blank certificates and attendance may be ordered, and we can help you with that too for the state and other places. So let us know your needs, but again, the important thing here is CEUs, PDHs do have an impact on attendance. You're serving your membership, and that's what we do at the chapter level.
John.
Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. Go
I have
ahead.
a question about that PDH. For Florida, what I've been told from Philip Jean in our chapter is that we can submit to ASHRAE and they will submit the documentation to the state. But he told me I could do that after the meeting. I think that's incorrect.
No, that's incorrect. If you're doing those, you have to have a sign-in sheet, and some of the things. Is Lauren here? No.
You want to deal with it?
I think you need to sign in. You need to sign out.
Yes.
Okay.
You sign them out, and that's when you can send after the meeting. Do you have to have something to send to ASHRAE beforehand? We need a copy of the presentation.
Oh, thank you. Okay, yeah. You have to submit what's happening at that meeting prior to the meeting, the data that the speaker's going to present, so that they say, okay, this is adequate or this is acceptable in order to award points. That has to be done, and if you do it, you better do it 2 or 3 weeks before the meeting, because they don't always respond that quick. And it's not because they don't like you, it's because they got other things to do. So give them some time to work on those kind of things. Yeah, anything else? Thanks for the
Is
question.
that email for R. Douglas and ASHRAE, would he be the person you would submit that presentation to? You said for blank certificates, right?
Yeah. Rosie Douglas is,
Rosie.
yeah, is the person, and there's her email address there. Rosie's queen. Rosie is wonderful. I don't know how she can be as many places as she is, but she does great. Yeah. Everybody got it?
should have a home now.
Think about a few of these things because every speaker doesn't have the same needs. So go in and walk around and make sure that it's going to be adequate for all your attendees. But this is just good sense, and I think you all have that. So I don't know how much you want to spend on it. Yeah, these people are. We've been talking about the fact that in our society we feed our members at the chapter level. So those people that come in to help you feed, treat them like kings and queens. They're doing your job, and they're making your job better. They're doing your job. So they are special. I don't care who they are, even if they're one of your own people. When they're a speaker, they're special people. Okay. Make sure that you've done all this stuff. Materials ahead of time is good stuff. Please think about that. And when you're talking to your speaker, your presenter, find out what they would like done in that regard and punch them a little bit. Make sure that they're thinking about it, because they may not have anything, but after you talk to them about it, they say, oh, this might help get my points across. So think about that. Tell them how much time they have. Please tell them how much time they have. Some of them get involved and they go longer, and now you got people that are saying, I didn't come here for a night, I came here for an hour or something. So do talk to your speakers about that. Think about all these things are all kind of common for us. If you have a DL, we'll talk some more about DLs later, but if you have a DL, make sure that you've got their arrangements taken care of, the hotel, and that they're comfortable. Make them feel comfortable. They're doing your job, but they're doing it like pros. These guys are great. So, but even if it's not a DL, treat them okay anyway. And this thing here is often not thought about, but sending a thank you letter, that's really, if I go out and I do something for somebody and then a day later or 2 days later I get something in the mail saying we really appreciate what you did, I feel a lot better about them. If they ask me something to do something again later, I might make some arrangements or twist my schedule a little bit so I can accommodate. So tell them, there's nothing wrong with saying thanks. Comes in handy. Thanks. Yeah, there's an evaluation program or evaluation sheet that I'm going to suggest that you put at every place. Does that everybody eat while you're having meetings, or is anybody sitting in church pews and that kind of stuff? Everybody sit around the table. Put that evaluation sheet on there, and that's not just for DLs or other. That's for every meeting. Put it down and rate yourself, rate your speakers. Now, when you get that information, share it. Share it with, if there's some things in there that need to be addressed, then share it with those people within your chapter. But also, we like to know what's going on, because if somebody else is saying, I need some help and we'll have a good speaker in this area, if you'll share that information with us, we'll share it back with you. If you don't tell us, we can't tell you. Now, that's not totally true. We might tell you anyway. So complete these evaluations. And again, just go to the CTTC site, and all the stuff is there for you, and it's easy to find. Send a chapter database, and if you have any questions about what form to do, let me know. I've got some samples. I've got some stuff that some of the chapters have used that I think are really impressive, and I'll share that with anybody that wants it. But give information on a piece of paper and get it in an organized fashion and get it back to us so we know what's going on. And it'll also help you, because the guy that's going to succeed you next year can look at your data, and he's got some really good info there. It's really good stuff. Yeah. Thanks, Tim. Okay, let's talk about DLs.
That's where you guys can get
Oh, okay.
speakers.
No, he's just counting, there's no two.
There's no two up there.
Oh, man.
I thought it was a new hexadecimal system. Go to the page. We just added 10 new DLs this year, so you don't, even if you've done it before, you don't know them all again. So take another look and see what's in there. The DL program, I'm going to cover some stuff that will come up on the slides later, but it's in my brain right now, so I'm going to dump. The DL program is one that we have authorized where the society will pay transportation and transportation only to get that speaker into your town. After he gets in town, he's yours. You got to get him at the airport or whatever. You got to get him in a hotel. You got to feed him. You got to take care of him and treat him like a king and a queen because they're doing your job.
Work them like a slave.
Work him like a slave. That's right. I forgot the rest of that saying. And treat him like a king or queen and work him like a slave because they really do come to work for you, and you're not going to offend them like that. So, if you've got some people that want to be coached, if you've got a tech session going on, work them. They're good people. Work them.
When we mean work them like a slave, you bring them, you can take them to see consultant firms, maybe visit contractors, maybe take them, maybe you brought a 89.1 expert, take them to a code official.
Exactly.
See a code official. See a government official. So this stimulation is not just the program, there's so many things that you can do with it, but it's in your care. So remember, treat them like king and queens, work them like a slave.
Good point. Yeah, if you can get them in early, then you can work them during the day as well. And they don't mind. Really, they don't. Okay. So other resources that we've got here. Professional liability insurance carrier firms. I haven't seen that one before. Okay. These are different organizations and different people and that you can tap. And some of these people some of these organizations you may want to have joint meetings with. So think about that as well. The other thing I want to say about DLs that I should have said earlier is if you've got a DL coming in, let us, and we'll know, but let the people around you know, people like other chapters and other sections, let them know, because once you get these in, it's part of working them like a slave. Take them, make them go to 2 places, tell them we'd like you to come in for 2 days, not 1. And then work it out. Work these people because you're feeding your membership. That's what our job is. Panel programs or forums, technical tours. Is there any of the CTT webcasts, all-day chapters, seminars? You guys do those? Have you had good results? How many are doing some seminars?
We usually do a couple a year.
Couple? Tell us what subjects.
Well, last year we did 90.1.
Okay.
Which was pretty well received. I think we ended up with 20 or so people in a work day.
How did you handle it? Did you bring some people in to do it?
It was a webcast.
Oh, the webcast, okay.
And Phil G in our office, or in Florida West Coast Chapter, he handles all that. And basically all the ones and everybody in office sees. And for the live event, came up with the second topic.
Yeah.
But it's been relatively successful. We get people on the work day and we'll come in and produce some seminars.
Yeah. One of the things, yeah.
I just want to, you bring everybody into a room and then you have the webcast?
Yes. Stan Weaver and Company is where Phil works, and we had an area set up in his office.
Okay. One of the things that was done in Southwest for a while like 8 or 9 years, was to do an envelope seminar. It was an all-day thing, brought in a guest speaker, and the ASHRAE people didn't go to it, but the architects and contractors, those kind of people went. And we made about $5 grand a year went to research from that kind of stuff. And so, but again, we said that we're just not a place to meet. We meet so that we can go into our community and make a difference, and that's making a difference. And there's, you know, we're talking about you can have a seminar in 90.1 for half a day and charge people to come into it and bring in some of these pros and really put on a show. Get some people that write code and those kind of people. Invite them to the meeting. Get your architects. Get your members so that they know about that. So these are things that you don't do them often, like every month. But if you do 1 or 2 a year, you're finding a way to get into your community. And I really recommend you doing anything you can to make some of those happen. National engineering, non-technical talk. We've had some of those. Everybody tried those? You tried some non-technical stuff? Again, we're just feeding our members, right?
What do you mean by non-technical?
For example, if you have insurance broke, as a liability, which insurance is better for you as a consulting engineer, or you as a company, or you bring a lawyer.
Yeah. Contract law or something.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
And Central Florida this year, we had a speaker coming in discussing business communications and flow of information in the workplace and how to communicate more effectively. And that's one way to provide members with a service, obviously beyond technical.
Right.
So,
Yeah, we had a person come in to talk about flu, how to handle it. And a lot of people came. I mean, there's a need. I mean, when we get in a scare about flu, let's talk about it. Let's spread, you know, get an expert in there to talk about it, or whatever. Just think. I mean, our people are nerds. They want to hear the technical stuff, but every once in a while, they want to look around and see something else. So think about that when you're putting your programs together. Joint meetings, we talked about that. Facilities management. Is that kind of obvious, or do we need to talk about that? Sounds like we don't need to talk about it. Community service. Community service activities. I've not been involved in that. Who has? Community service. What do you do? Yes, sir.
Jennifer Eisenberg, who's the membership overseer, she hosted a group of Girl Scouts at USF through a chiller park that they just finished constructing, and walked them and toured the plant. We got a really neat picture with a mechanical contractor who's 6'7", with all these little Girl Scouts with their hard hats on in front of them. It was just a really neat sight. That was one of the ones that we done.
Okay. Well, something I haven't given a lot of thought to this, but it's a good idea. I mean, that again, we want to be a part of our community that we live in, and we're always thinking about, I want to teach them how to write code, or I want to teach them how to engineer an air handler or something like that. But this is another thing we ought to think about when we put our program together. Technical talks. Which reminds me, how many of you are doing tech sessions? A couple of us? Again, we're talking about reasons to feed or ways to feed our membership. If you've got something going on, and at this time, if you put this outside of your meeting room or convert your meeting room, you can let them be commercial. Okay? When the meeting starts, all the data has to be gone. No literature laying around. No signs hanging on the wall or anything like that. You got to get back to the regular meeting. But during those tech talks, you can let people pitch, if that's a good word. And Yes, sir.
We're thinking about our meeting is, the way that you've been to what we have over there, Russell County, but there's, before the actual meeting, there's like an outside area where everybody, register, everybody gathers a little bit.
That's the best way to do
And
it.
having somebody, whoever, for somebody to pay, let's say, $200 bucks, $300 for them to be able to do it. That money goes to research. They set up a booth and they'll be able to talk and hand out brochures and do all that kind of stuff. And then, 10 meetings, $200 a meeting, you get, a couple grand. So it's nice, to help out. And these people are donating, but they don't have the chance to explain their product. And that really helps out a lot, especially like rep firms that have 10 different lines. But one guy asked a rep firm, he told me, hey, I want the whole thing. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm all about it. The things that we're getting ready for research, but you don't only have that one. If there's more, you can have, you have 2 people having a booth, as long as they're not competing products or something, but, or even if it is, it's all for research. And then when the meeting starts, it's inside, totally separate.
Yep. That's the easiest way. If you got that kind of space, that's the easiest way. I've had some people doing the tech talks give out a ticket for drinks, and they'll pay for the drink. But it's, because sometimes we have problems getting them to come to the tech meeting. If we buy them a drink, maybe they'll come. I don't know. But it seemed to work. Or you could have them sponsor your dinner. There's all. You guys do some of that, don't you? The sponsors.
Yes. We don't charge for our dinners, but we do it. We use vendors to do those programs. They take care of the food and the wine.
You hear that? If you go into a meeting, you don't pay. There's an idea, huh? Think about these things. We're just trying to find out ways to attract people to come to our meetings. Indoor air quality, ventilation, building moisture, refrigeration. These are just different subjects, and we could add a bunch of them to this. Some of these would also work for panel subjects if you have that kind of program that you're working on. But right now we're talking about the tech talks, and there's lots of different things that you can do in this area. Panel forum. Those seem to be, my experience. Those seem to be pretty well attractive to our membership. They get a chance to talk instead of just listen, so they want to come. You use it. Has anybody got any questions about that? Are you using them? Are you trying them? Say yeah. Okay. That's my experience. It has been a very good attendance. You get a spike in your attendance, and you can use your local people. And you get other organizations to come in because they got an architect there, and you invite the AIAs to come into the thing, and you can have nice attendance.
And to add to that, forums is sometimes a lifesaver because if your presenter doesn't show up,
Yep.
you just get more people in the room. And then start a discussion. And people involved. Yeah.
Just happened last year, didn't it, Jason?
Yeah.
And it worked out great.
Probably better than it would have been.
Yeah, might have been. Go ahead. Okay, field trips. Is this obvious? You know how to do it. It's a good idea. It's not something that you want to do too often, but it's something that people will be attracted to because they want to go see this building or this plant or this whatever it is. Okay. We had one. I remember we went to a trash burning place. Attendance was great. We didn't see any HVAC, but we saw a lot of fire. Go ahead. Seminars and conferences. We talked a little bit about this earlier, but you think about doing the couple once or twice a year. It's good. It's a good way for you to disseminate information, and you can get people outside of ASHRAE involved, and you can attract people that aren't members of ASHRAE that maybe want to be members. They're good thing to do. It takes some planning, it takes some setup, because you're probably not going to meet in the regular building or the regular place because the crowd's going to be different. Maybe if you meet in that kind of place, that's great, but often it's somewhere else, and so you need to do that. Co-sponsored, you can get some other organizations to work with you, and we're just talking about ways of feeding our membership and letting people in the world know that ASHRAE is involved and it's a viable organization and it's a source of information. And once they get introduced to that, you might get a call from somebody saying, can you tell me about this? Research talks. I know about research, but I don't know about research talks. Jeff, what happens? How does that work?
I think it's just another subject matter for
Presentation of a research program?
Yeah, presentation of research.
Okay.
Of course, the research is free to all members, so all of ASHRAE research reports that are conducted are accessible to all members. But I think it's just another category of topic and discussion that might be appropriate.
Never did that. That's neat. Yeah, John.
And actually, part of the research grants that we give out, not part of the obligation, but part of what the person head of research is obliged to do is give updates and
You got to come back and tell us what you did with our money. Huh?
Yeah, basically, that's one thing that we push along in the RP is that if there's somebody within your region or the area that is performing research, you're obliged to give them a call and say, hey, can you come and update our chapter on what you're doing on this research project, and they can come and do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what's almost meant to say expected of them, but something that they're obliged to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you would like, at any one time, ASHRAE has a lot of research underway. The staff contact for that is at ASHRAE headquarters is a guy named Mike Vaughn. So if that's one of the things you wanted to consider for a program, you can just call Mike and say, Mike, what type of research is going on at the universities in my area? Where we can actually get one of the researchers to come in and tell us about that project that was just completed or one that was underway and that kind of thing. Here's just an example. Non-destructive or chemical treatment devices and non-chemical treatment devices for chiller water and things like that. We've got some really interesting projects that are underway that shows whether or not those things work well and under what circumstances they work well. And that type of research might be interesting. Or you might do 2 or 3 projects that are underway in a particular area and have people come in and say, this is what our findings were. And I think that is of interest to some people.
Yeah, the research program, we all know about raising money for research, but we often don't know where the money's coming back. And this Mike Vaughn is a good source for us to find out, because there may be somebody in your town that's getting some of your money and you don't even know it. So that's an excellent suggestion. Thanks.
Another thing on the research, one that I did when I was programmed was, this is really thinking out of the box. I'll probably start writing as soon as I say it. But I called NASA, and I got a guy that did a research paper on mission to Mars. And he actually works for NASA, and he actually is running the space program that's going to Mars. And what I wanted him to do to come to talk about was how is the air conditioning and breathing apparatus and all that going all the way to Mars and back for a human. So he came in and did that. My first thought when I was doing it was the space station. But everybody kind of knew about the space station. But this mission to Mars, when I finally got a hold of this guy, it was great. He came in and I broke records on the attendance that night. So that's the kind of stuff you need to think out of the box in the research and just come off the wall and stuff.
Neat idea. Okay. Joint meetings. two kinds of joint meetings with other chapters and joint meetings with other organizations. And they're both handy. Other organizations is another way for you to, if you're meeting with the AIA or somebody like that, we got people that work with them all the time, and sometimes it's them kind of attitude, and you need to develop friendship and association. There's nothing like knowing who you're talking to. So those are good opportunities, and they have appeal for the membership. And again, that's what we're talking about. We're trying to find ways to trigger our members to say, yes, I want to go and be fed. And that's what we're doing. Well, this one is really exploding since we have yay stuff going on. I'm just really excited about what's going on there. But I mean, we've got people taking what are the interlocking things? Kids' toys? What do you call them? Legos. Thank you. We've got people going into kindergarten and taking Legos and having the kids build something. And they're doing it and saying things about ASHRAE. I mean, we're talking kindergarten. And it seems to be something that the teachers want to keep doing. But it's easy. So there's just lots of things you can do. That's an extreme, I think, as far as young people are concerned. But, people that are in high school and those kind of things, figure out ways to attract their attention. In Southwest, we have a problem because we don't have any engineering programs in any of the colleges around. And they're certainly mechanical, they don't know how to spell it. It's just not there. So we're having to find different ways in order to attract that, including trying to work with the universities and tell them how to spell it. So we're working at those levels. But just think about it. It's an obvious thing. That's the future of where we're going. I'll say that. Non-technical talks, we kind of already talked about that. Building manager, owner problems, those are things that again, you've got owners that are members of your chapter, and you can feed them that way too. So, okay. The benefits of the DL. Chapter receives excellent lecturer to speak on relevant subjects of interest. And if you know anything about being qualified, is anybody a DL in here? No. If you know anything about what it takes to qualify to be a DL, you know that these guys go through a lot. And some of them are qualified. When you look at their pages, they have, picked subjects. You've got 5 or 6 different areas that are approved for them to come in and talk to you about. So these are pros. These are people that are dedicated and they're good. And if they're not in there anymore. Because there's a rating system for them. And if they don't meet the muster, why, they will get renewed. Joint participation, we've talked about that. We talked about the society paying the transportation, an opportunity to work with other people. And that's a hell of a hat. Go ahead. When you have a DL coming in, there is a form that you have to submit to us in order to make this thing happen. Okay, it's on the website, CTTC. It's required to be approved in order for that payment to happen. If you skip that step, better have a checkbook there. Promoted as a special event. We talked about the housing, transportation, meals, and those kind of things. This is a person that's coming in to serve you. Again, I'll say it one more time. Treat them like a king or a queen and work them like slaves. Bring them in early, send them home late. There is a critique, which we've talked about for every member, but there's a critique that has to be done if the DL's coming in. If you don't do that, society's not going to like you. And I don't know, they might punish you. But put the form out like you would on a regular meeting. Make sure at every meeting you have these forms out. But put this out especially for DL. Collect them, compile them, and when you get those done, there's a rating system that's on there, and I need you to send that to me. And you can send it to me by sending me every page, no thank you, or you can recap it on one page and tell me what the averages are. And we'll pass that through and make sure that everything gets transferred. Because that speaker is being rated by the society, and somebody in Orlando or somebody in Los Angeles needs to know what kind of speaker it is. And so that's one of the important things to do. Yes, sir.
May I say something?
I wouldn't have thought you were in the room if you weren't going to say, no. Yes, you can say anything you want.
Some of you, most of you know me, I'm Ray Patno, and I used to be a member of the Distinguished Lecture Program. It's very interesting, and I've, for years, been giving lots of talks, ASHRAE talks at society winter meetings, and I have a bunch of programs. One that I'm very interested in is building envelopes, air pressurization, dedicated outside air systems. So if anybody in the region would like a unofficial old DL lecture, and I say that in jest because I'm not part of the DL program, I have applied, so eventually I'll be, but anybody in our region would like me to come and speak at your chapter, if you get somebody who doesn't make it, or you have an open speaker, and you think that my topic may be of worthy interest to your members, just contact John. You can get a hold of me, and I'd be more than glad to come down, and no charge to you guys, and do a talk. Now, it would be best if I have at least an hour, because I have a lot of material to cover. I probably can do 45 minutes, which might stretch out a little bit, but I can do that, and I've got some other programs to go along with that. But if it's of interest to you and you need some help, I've been in the region for 34 years, and I just, I'd love to do that. Besides that, my boss, who lives with me, wants to see more of Florida. She's a Brazilian citizen, and has just recently become a U.S., so she loves to travel. So.
Tell us more about your subject. Is it an envelope or what?
Yeah, what I'm mostly interested here lately is building envelopes, and I've found that engineers don't know a thing about building envelopes. They don't know what they're supposed to do. They don't know how to calculate the load across it in terms of humidity ratios, in terms of air pressurization. They don't understand how to accomplish the task of making sure you have a positively pressurized building. The typical thing I see is I do standard 62, and I do my 20 CFM times 100 people. I got 2,000 CFM. I got so many bathrooms. I exhaust my 1,500, and I got a net 500 in the building, so I got a positively pressurized building, right? No. And if you check the infiltration chapter, there's some very lengthy calculations to be done, and I've actually put together a simplified method for a building 5 stories and below, where you can check and determine the air pressurization of the building, or that you have enough air. In addition to that, when you're bringing that air in, you need to control it in some fashion. And the common thing, or the thing that we've seen a lot of, is dedicated outside air systems. And then you can look for recovery of that air. And what happens is the 2,000 CFM comes in, the 1,500 CFM comes out, and now if you're trying to recover energy, you have an unbalanced wheel design. So once you've accomplished that task, now you've basically taken care of the latent load in the building. So now what do I do with my devices inside to control my spaces inside? How actually I do that? And there's a lot of neat ways to do that, particularly with some of the equipment that's available. And of course mine are all ASHRAE, no manufacturers. But there's lines of equipment you can do that with, both with chill water, both with DX, there's mini splits, and you basically look at using fan coil or terminal devices to handle that internal load. And I have some stuff that Stan Muma, if you know Stan Muma, used to go as, and I have worked on. So, and I have some projects that we successfully implemented this stuff. And the last thing is there's a ASHRAE design guide. It's called the ASHRAE Guide to Designing Buildings in Hot and Humid Climates. And I sat as the chair for the project monitoring subcommittee with Lou Harriman and Joe Stiebrick, and I put that material together. And what I usually do is bring some of those books at a discounted price, below what member price is, but he's not in the room right now. And thank you, Jeff, because I get a special deal on those books, and we make them available to the membership. I make no profit off any of this. I just like to distribute ASHRAE material. And then at the end of my lectures, there's always a few slides on buy this ASHRAE material. And it's the only part that I use. But it's all for, talking about the stuff that we have available in the ASHRAE bookstore that I found is extremely valuable in designing buildings. That's more than a minute, and I apologize.
It's good information. I don't think you're going to get a better offer than what you just heard here as far as putting on something, and the price is right too. I think that's kind of neat. Okay.
John, I would like to add something about the DL rating form. The DL is successful because of these evaluations. This is what helps us identify the best of the best without whoever is not meeting our criteria.
Yep.
You want a successful DL program, you need to submit your DL evaluations. And for a fact, they evaluate you. Make sure you do your job too. They'll tell society that we will be provided with the audiovisual equipment they need.
Two-way street.
Yeah. So that's a key. We have developed in the committee a point system that is heavily influenced on these evaluations.
Yep. They need to be done. When the participation form is received, the RBCs are sent confirmation. This is the process that we're going through, just so you know what it is. Chapter sent up publicity materials for use. These are things that the DL is wanting you to have so that you can get information out. They'll also have a bio and all that kind of stuff, so you can tell everybody who's coming in. And they're reimbursed. Now, the other thing.
They also send you a press release, which can put his name and the subject he's going to talk about, and you can send that to a local newspaper.
Yeah, this stuff right here. The other thing is you can use a DL and not have the society pay for it. I mean, you already have a list of wonderful speakers, and if you don't have that part of it done, you can still budget to pay for her transportation and take care of it that way. And we've said this before, but I want to emphasize, if you got one coming in, let the other chapters know around you, because welcome, Mark.
Also, the list that I mentioned you before about people on PCs and SPCC, that list also includes DLs that are in your chapter. You can take advantage of that too.
Yep. Okay. Okay. I didn't know I'm done.
Yeah.
If on the program stuff, I just want to say I am available. Most of our communication is email, but my phone number was on that thing, and if anybody has any questions about any of that, please get the information and call me. Somebody had a hand up?
Yeah, when do they get assigned?
I got some news for you. They went away. There's about 3 of them we have left, and I don't know if they're going to go to Panama yet. I'm talking to Bill Malphus. If you don't know that you have one, and I don't think anybody in this room does, yeah, it's a couple of them, then we only get 7. And we're trying to feed our sections right now and working with them. So the good news is we got 7. The bad news is probably not going to get one unless you pay for it yourself.
Look
Yeah.
at the DL list because there are DLs that may be local to your chapter.
Yes.
So you can get in.
And you got guys like Ray. There's people in the state of Florida. There are a lot of them that are DLs, and you can pay transportation a heck of a lot better than you can pay airfare from Cairo or something like that.
Even though we have already used our allocated budget, we already have done 5. We have submitted 5 to the ASHRAE headquarters. We got 3 left that Ross Montgomery will use to promote ASHRAE in South America. In December 1st, all the unused allocations from the other regions go to a common pool. That pool works first come, first serve. That means that you prepare the paperwork, you send it to me no later than November 30th. I'll make sure that the person in headquarters, when she opens her email program, she'll see my email first. Last year, we were able to get 4 additional DLs apart from our assigned allocations. So there's hope for you. But you have to know how to play the game. Okay? So if you want a DL, make sure that by November 30th you submit me paperwork, so the next day, that email is on ASHRAE headquarters, and we get our deals from the common. Okay? This is another resource that you have available for chapter programs. Is the ASHRAE Learning Institute. They have courses for full day or half day seminars. What you can do is you can buy the materials from them. They give you a license to use them for presentations. You give it to one of the chapter members. He takes the material and he presents it on the chapter. Okay. So this is another chapter program resource that is available. Go to the next. We also have e-learning that you can have programs that you can see through the web, through the internet. Okay? They send emails telling you when these programs will be transmitted to the internet. What I would suggest you is check the ASHRAE website. There's some place called one page called the list server. When you subscribe your email, and then they'll start sending you information that you may use for your newsletter and information about ALI and e-learning. If anybody here has been certified on the ASHRAE certification program already? You? What
Healthcare design.
Healthcare design? Yes. Okay. For the past couple of years, ASHRAE has developed certification programs. Let's go to the next slide, please. These are our current 5 certification programs. We have the Healthcare Facility Design Professional, the High Performance Building Design Professional, we have the Operations Performance Management Professional, the Commissioning Process Management Professional, Our last one is the building model profession. Okay? Be aware that you get points for people that become certified in your chapter. Okay? So promote this. And you can ask society, the same as you can ask thesis. Let me know what this is. I have in my chapter. Let me know who has been certified in my chapter. As part of your responsibility, you may want to do a trade show. There are some restrictions of what you can do with this. Let's go to the next slide. Your trade show cannot be more than 10,000 square feet, and each individual display area must not be more than 100 square feet. The idea about this regulation is that, remember, ASHRAE has the winter meeting when they have the trade show. We don't want to compete with them. Yesterday we had a presentation during the business session that I think the 25% of the income generated by ASHRAE comes through the trade show each winter. So we don't want to affect that. I know Central Florida does have one every couple of years with ASPE.
Yeah, we alternate every other year. 1 year we will run it, next year it's good one.
So people like that. Like to get in contact with their vendors, with their contractors, and share information, new information and technology. You are required to have at least one seminar during the trade show.